Nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world, with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. And now we have generating bodhicitta, which is refuge and vow and bodhicitta generation. We say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So now, as is our custom, started by Venerable Thupten Lundrup, or Nikki Vreeland, as you like to, we'll say one round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Chenrezig, the personification of Buddha's compassion. Or you can just watch the mind, do what you like. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So we have some stories tonight about animals. You'll be very happy.
Yay.
We're in the San Diego Zoo right now. This is again from this book that we were talking about last Monday night, that we're reading from actually. The Tibetan Book of Everyday Wisdom, 1,000 years of sage advice. 1,000 years. Been around. The advice has lasted. This is called, within this book, there's this section called Rays of Sunlight, a commentary on Ganden wise sayings. There's part of the book is the Ganden wise sayings. I'm trying to get the dates on this, but I cannot, so let's not worry about it. It's timeless anyway. There's 4 verses, and then there's a prose commentary on them. We'll do 3 or 4 of them. And it involves a lot of animals who are actually bodhisattvas showing up as animals. So you'll like this. People who like this kind of stuff. Remember, this book, a lot of this stuff was presented to people who were illiterate, didn't have the chance to read extensively, etc. So there were these little, like the gospel, Christ spoke in parables, because people could understand things better. This is similar. And it takes into concern the view of the world at the time. Animals were like, there are a lot of allegory where animals act this way and that, so same thing. You don't need my mouth. This book is much better than me. Let's hear it. This is from page 216. The wise listen to what wise people say. This is going to be the moral of the prose. From that they obtain the relevant good qualities. By listening to Captain Suparaga's words, the merchants found treasure, as is well known. So it's a story about these merchants who wanted to travel with this bodhisattva ship captain who was very successful at going to the, quote, Isle of Jewels. These are all figurative. We can discuss that. You have any comments, just interrupt. If you're online, just dash off a note. The prose part. A wise person is not confused about what should be done and what should be avoided. That's wisdom. What do you do behavior-wise and what do you not do? In this context, that's wise. Not who knows how to buy stock at this level or whatever. This world is different. Come on in. Hi, you survived. Welcome to our cool, air-conditioned abode. So a wise person is not confused about what should be done and what should be avoided. This verse reveals that one will obtain the good qualities that are relevant to the situation by listening to the meaning of a wise person's instructions, the guru, if you will, or whoever. For example, by relying on the words they heard from Suparaga, the captain of the sea routes, the merchant passengers were freed from the terror of great misfortune and afterward came across treasure, that is, superb jewels. See what they're setting out. Long ago, in a region of noble land of India, and this is written long ago, so it's long ago from there. In a region of noble land of India called Surapaka, Suraparaka, Suraparaka, Suraparaka. There lived a captain called the Bodhisattva Suparaga, like raga. His mind was very sharp. He was very skilled in the arts, in reading omens, and so forth. When that great man had grown old, many merchants in pursuit of jewels implored him, "You must come and be our guide," because he was very successful bringing them to places where they could collect wealth. This is figurative too, the wealth of knowledge. You could think that way. Because of his affection for those merchants, he boarded their large boat and they set off on the ocean. The guy's skilled, and what did they do? They put their faith in him. They asked him, "Please, can you take us?" He's a bodhisattva. This is how you relate to a teacher also. Then a fierce, ill-fated wind arose. Sound effects, please. Cue the kazoo. Unable to withstand it, the boat was carried far away and came near to sinking in the ocean. As the sun neared the west, the tempest seemed to turn even the sea upside down, and there was a terrifying cracking sound. Fearful. Wish we had sound effects. Oh, see, okay, that's a low budget picture here. The merchants despaired upon hearing it. All right, there's a big feeling of terror. Some wept, some lamented and cried for help. Extreme situation, stressful situation. Some lost their minds from terror. A few prayed for refuge to worldly gods, not transcendent gods. Sit wherever you like. You're at home here. When some of these despairing merchants came to the Bodhisattva emitting cries of misery, he quickly took action. This is how bodhisattvas act, saying that if you implore certain bodhisattvas, Avalokiteshvara or whatever, you'll get results. He said, merchants, have no fear now. I have a plan. First he calms you down. Don't worry. He freed his shoulder from its garment, bowed on the deck, and prayed to the Buddhas of the 10 directions. And he said, O gods of the ocean and sky, listen. Never even in my thoughts have I ever killed a living creature. From the power of recalling these words of truth and of my merits, may this great ship not sink in the sea, and may these people be restored to happiness. As soon as he spoke, the ship righted. Sincere. Then the great man instructed the merchants, fill the boat with as much sand and rock from the sea down to the strands of reeds as it can handle. Then the boat will not overturn. Oh, what's he doing? Sand and rock. Okay, we'll do it. The merchants loaded the great ship to capacity with what they thought was sand and rock, but was actually gold, silver, lapis, and so on. He's a miracle worker, this bodhisattva. The night they reached shore, the boat glittered with its load of gold, silver, sapphires, lapis, and so on. In this way, by relying on the great man and doing as he said, the great ship was filled with treasure, and the merchants achieved their goals just as they had wished. Big deal. So what's he talking about? The goal of knowledge, which is more valuable than physical jewels, etc. They relied on his truthful instructions. They did what he said, and that's the result. So you could think of this in the commercial sense, and they lived happily ever after, and they bought big property, etc. There's something else going on here. Big property, what good is that to you when you die? Can't send it ahead, all right? Although I think Tibetans figured it out. No. It says the next one is going on now. It says in 100 stanzas on wisdom, which I don't know if that's the 100 verse project. No, 100 stanzas on wisdom is something probably else. Something else probably. I'll look it up, but not relevant right now. Another section now. A wise person all by himself or herself will achieve the superb goal he or she desires. A single line, the king of beasts, destroys the most arrogant elephant. Welcome to the animal realm. Here's the next verse, verse 8 of this rays of sunlight. The foolish do not listen to the words of the wise. From that, they end up with the relevant problems. It is well known that the turtle fell from the sky because he did not listen to the geese's words. I told that turtle, never mind. So this is another allegory. A fool is ignorant of what should be done and what should be avoided. That's the definition of a fool in this context. Not that he's in the capital of Arkansas. No, big deal. This verse means that fools do not do what the wise say. Not listening, they behave improperly and do the opposite. Because of that, they will obtain the related undesirable faulty consequences that are not good, and will also acquire flaws that are not good. For example, in a well-known story of a turtle fell from the sky and suffered greatly as a result of not listening to the helpful advice of 2 geese. So next time a goose or geese, pay attention, write it down. Tape it, I don't know.
We have a lot.
We have a lot of geese, yes we do. I know. And I was going to make a joke about, never mind, I won't. And getting the flock. Long ago, here's the story. A turtle and a pair of geese lived in a pond behind Lavinia's house. No. After 12 years of drought, the pond dried up. Must have been a pretty deep pond. Shortly after the world came into existence, even the animals knew how to talk in those days. In the new, this I don't know, myth or what, but when the world was young. So the two geese said, "We're going to another pond." The turtle said, "Oh, friends, please don't abandon me. We can all go if you two lift the ends of a stick, and I'll hold onto the stick with my mouth." So a geese on either side grabs the stick in their bill, and the turtle holds onto the stick. And away they go. Right? The geese counseled, "Okay, if we do that, you must not speak, not even a word," because he was going to hold the stick in his mouth. The two geese picked him up like that and flew into the sky. Seeing that, some children on the mountain said, "Look, geese are carrying off a turtle." As they passed through another area, other children exclaimed the same. The turtle wasn't able to keep himself from speaking. Oh boy. "The geese aren't carrying me off. I wanted to go." The stick quickly slipped from his mouth and he fell to the earth. The children grabbed him and he suffered greatly. The gods said, and here's the verse, paying no heed to what he was told by dear friends who wished to help him, the turtle let go of the stick. Thus he fell and was lost. Thus fools who do not listen to the words of the wise and do whatever they want will be ruined like the turtle who fell from the sky. I could see, using these as, teaching technique, etc. Here's another one, page 218 now, of this wonderful book called 1,000 Years of Sage Advice, the Tibetan Book of Everyday Wisdom. Show it on the camera. Here it is. It's part of the Library of Tibetan Classics, edited by Geshe Thupten Jinpa, a saint for our times. The work he's done is amazing. Just the sheer volume of printed matter, let alone his translating skills. Explaining now the advantages of speaking well of the wise and the disadvantages of not speaking well of them. If you can do nothing else, speak well of them and rejoice in their merit. And what did the other night we know, what does that do to you as your character? It's the antidote to jealousy. We said it the other night, in Buddhism, you have a problem, they don't go right at it. They go underneath it. So, I can't be jealous, it's wrong, and blah, blah, blah. How about start rejoicing in everyone's merit, what they did. You'll find those messages don't come up anymore. The mind is being cleaned by the rejoicing. That's the technique of Buddhism. It looks like, well, what does that do? It doesn't look like they're connected. They're connected. It's one mind. One pond. What we want to do. So, the verse 9, page 218, says, "The wise speak well of other wise people. Through that they inspire other people. Look at what was said by the god Indra about the renown of the Bodhisattva hare, H-A-R-E. The Bodhisattva was a rabbit. Hare, H-A-R-E. I think the English use the word. See? You have them in your backyard?
No.
No, I do.
Because I have too many cats.
Too many
They
cats.
stay away,
Oh, they stay in my place. So. I feed them all the plants. No, I don't. Anyway, the wise see, here's a text. The wise see faults and good qualities exactly as they are. So he's defining the wise. He's talking about the guru. He's talking about a legitimate teacher. They see things as they really are, not the projections we throw out. And we can't, well, it's not that way. That's not the way I think it is. Well, you're wrong. You have to understand when you come to Buddhism, statements of the Buddha and other adepts, you have to filter them through your mind as best as you can, not just, I know it. Yeah, well, that's why you're here, to try and get a new take on things. They only speak, the wise he's talking about, well of and proclaim the fame of others. Look at the amazing way all men and gods develop faith because Indra, the king of the gods, spoke about the glorious renown of the Bodhisattva who took a life as a hare. Bodhisattva showed up as a rabbit. Why? They have that ability, and they realize in this situation it's best if I parade around as a rabbit and do this, that, and the other. It'll affect minds. And they have the ability to assume a form that's necessary. The first level, they could assume 100 forms. and it goes up from there, 1,000. So, long ago when our teacher was on the path of training, meaning the Buddha, through the force of his compassion and prayers, he took birth as a hare in a pleasant, isolated place. He lived there with his dear friends, otter, jackal, and monkey. Sounds like an Italian social club. They all have these nicknames. Frankie the Bull. Otter, jackal, and monkey. Contrary to their animal nature, these four were magnanimous, extremely compassionate, survived by living according to the Dharma, and so forth. Even the gods were astonished by their special good qualities. The Bodhisattva hare wondered, if a guest were to come here, what could I offer him? Seeing that his body was the best thing to give, he vowed to give it. The god King Indra was amazed. In order to test the Bodhisattva, he transformed into a Brahmin. He went to the isolated place, acting and lamenting as if he was suffering from hunger and thirst. The otter came and gave him 7 fish. The jackal came and gave him a round loaf of bread and a pot of yogurt. Nice place. The monkey came and gave him some mangoes, a little dessert. The hare decided to give his own body. In preparation, Indra conjured up a heap of hot, smokeless coals. When the Bodhisattva hare joyfully jumped into the fire without any hesitation, Indra was astounded and became very faithful. Showing his true form, Indra lifted the Bodhisattva hare from the fire and carried him to the god realm. He presented him to the gods, venerated and lauded him. Having displayed an astonishing deed by an extremely difficult action, the Bodhisattva hare made generations of gods throughout posterity, and even those living now on Jambudvipa, which is this earth, Jambudvipa, have faith. In consideration of the beneficent deed that inspired faith, Indra inscribed the dwelling of the pious god on the palace of the king of gods of the heaven of the 33 heaven, and drew an image of the hare on the orb of the moon. So it became part of the corporate seal of the heaven of the 33 gods, or whatever. So, what time do we have? We have time for one more song. We have one more. Fools speak, this is chapter 10, or section 10. Fools speak ill of the wise, thereby forestalling other people's faith. A big point. If you can't say anything good about this teacher, people think he's a teacher, even if the guy's, people think he's a good teacher, don't say anything. Don't be like the turtle opened his mouth. So, fools speak ill of the wise, thereby forestalling other people's faith. Look at the result of the ill-natured things Surat said about the Bhikshu Malaputra. We'll find out what that means. The prose part says, because fools make mistakes and good qualities, fools mistake faults and good qualities. Because fools mistake faults and good qualities, they don't discern properly what's a good quality, what's a fault. Sometimes gurus act very strange. You shouldn't condemn. You don't know what you're doing. Just don't say anything. At least don't harm. Strange. I don't understand this. Let it go. We don't know the difference between faults and good qualities. They do not see the good qualities of the wise. Therefore, they say ill-natured and unseemly things about them, thereby forestalling the faith of embodied beings. Same theme as the last. For example, look what happened long ago because Surt and Bumja spoke ill of the Bhikshu Malaputra again and again. We don't need to know who these people are right now. It's not critical. Malaputra, a very wealthy son of a general, lived in the land of Papaja. He gave up his home and became a renunciate. Arya Asvajit, he's famous, Asvajit, we've heard of him before. There's text with him. Arya Asvajat, Arya means noble person, so he saw emptiness directly. So the Arya denotes a certain level of spiritual attainment. Arya Asvajat gave him religious instruction. Because Malaputra worked hard reciting, listening, contemplating, renouncing, and meditation, before too long he obtained arhatship. He was called noble also. In other words, he was a realized and liberated teacher. When even the teacher, the Buddha, predicted that Malaputra would be the best of the disciples living with Arya Asvajit, 2 monks, Surt and Bhumija, baselessly slandered him because of enmity from former lives, jealousy, envy, and hatred from former lives. They said Malaputra committed a downfall because he had sex with a beautiful bhikshuni, a nun. All right, show me the tape, or else get out of court. No. Further, on another occasion, they saw the bhikshuni Uptalavarna in the presence of Arya Malaputra in order to listen to the Dharma. They also saw a stag and a doe copulating. So they said, we saw Malaputra and Utpala. We saw a sex act. Real PR from the days of politics here. On this unfounded implication, they implied, they spoke ill of him and so forth, slandering him repeatedly as being impure. The teacher reproached both Sura and Bhumija many times, saying, ignorant people utter falsehoods, and so forth. Then the Buddha made a rule forbidding slander by implication. There's a lot going on here. A simple story, but a lot. Thus, speaking well of the wise increases your own and everyone else's faith. It will bring forth pleasant results in this and future lives, and is the basis for every good quality. Easy to do. What's the problem? And we get all that result. Speaking ill of the wise, holy people, is to injure yourself and is the cause of experience intolerably unpleasant results in this and all future lives. Ouch. That's how things happen, by the way. We're not into a ready-made world that's going to act this way or that. We created this. We co-create the situations that we're now in. Co-create, something like that. It says in a sutra that long ago a king ordered 500 women to dance and play music for 7 days in order to honor a bodhisattva Dharma teacher. 10 people disparaged the Dharma teacher because of these women. As a consequence of that action, they experienced inconceivable misery. 90,000 years in hell, 500 lifetimes as eunuchs and savages with wrong views, and 600 lives as blind mutes. Intelligent people should take heed. So they crack the whip in these stories because the audience at the time would react to something like that. Oh, I don't believe that, we would say. I don't know. I don't know what level they're speaking on. And it's so easy to say something nice and shut up about the negative things. It should be open. So that's something easy we can do and give ourselves a lot of benefit. Come on in. We're alive. You missed the story of the tortoise and the geese. Oh, you have it. So what do you think about the turtle that opened his mouth?
I feel sad. But I have friends like that.
Really?
You know,
Turtles?
They
No.
just keep telling, you say,
Yeah, tell us. Give us the details. All right. So that ends our little vignette session. So we have a half hour. We're working from this text called Practicing the Path. It's a Lamrim. It's a commentary on the Lamrim. I like it because the language is very modern. The teacher is Yangtze Rinpoche, from a very good lineage. Geshe Sopa's lineage, and he was Geshe Sopa's teacher in a previous life. So you know how we love Geshe Sopa around here, because he speaks clearly, it's easy to understand. He's currently, this teacher runs the Maitripa University in Portland, Oregon. I think it's Portland somewhere. Anyway. And we went through the 7 limbs of puja, and we did the précis of what each limb does. So, the great purposes. What are the great purposes? This is page 75. The first great purpose is the removal of all obstacles and obscurations from the mind. That's the purpose of studying the Lamrim, to get rid of obstacles in the mind. What are obstacles? First of all, your lack of intelligence. We won't even go to the lack of miraculous power and all that. The inability to control your mind jumping around, which is what we should really emphasize right now. Going in and seeing what's going on in there, because going out, you're not going to change the world as much. You get a little here. And going in, because going in puts good imprints on your mind and creates the future for not only us, but everyone else that's aligned with us. So, what we're experiencing now is a result of what we did in the past. We're playing the hand we dealt ourselves. So, you can think of it that way if you like to gamble and play cards. And why do you waste time with that? But anyway, that's the idea. So the removal of all obstacles and obscurations from the mind, from the initial lack of guru devotion up to the subtle dualistic view. In the beginning, here in the United States, in this modern society, we don't start, all the teachers say the same thing, with guru devotion too much. That's not in our culture. It was just taken for granted in the other cultures, Tibet, for instance. But here it's not that emphasized. But it is the stage, the start of the path. You could substitute the literature for guru devotion. What is the Buddha saying? And that's where you start. Does it make sense? And of course you don't say yes, yes, yes. You say why, why, why. It's always says it. And Rinpoche said, I don't want yes men. You heard the word yes men. Why? Question, because when you question, it extracts meaning. Yeah. It's not pleasant. I'd rather go along with what they say and have something to eat, and that's it, but that doesn't get me anywhere. Just to New Jersey. And the subtle dualistic view, now you're talking. Dualism has different definitions. We won't go into it here, but we will as we get to the inside chapter, etc. So, but bear in mind that the way we see the world isn't exactly the way it is. Isn't the way those who have seen the true nature of reality see it. Second great purpose, to be able to generate all the realizations of the path, from the pure mind of guru devotion, again, up to the realizing of the unmistaken view of selflessness. That's a technical term. It'll be explained later, but that's the top. So again, the Lamrim is sequentially presented from the beginning, boom, boom, boom. And it's important you follow in general. You can sometimes skip a little the progression because each stage makes you more able to understand the next stage and the next and the next. And the third great purpose is to be free of all hindrances, to accomplish the total pacification of all obstacles. You are in control and you have the key, the methods to get rid of things that are blocking your full evolvement to Buddhahood. That's the goal. And the motivation for the goal is to cease suffering and not want it to go on. If I'm a Buddha, I can do this and that. I'm coming for you guys. I'm coming. I won't be in the same form. I won't be who I am now. But I'll find out who you are because I'll have a great omniscient memory and I'll know I passed this poor person on the street 10,000 lives ago and I felt that now this person is here, I'm going to help them. That happens. Buddhas don't have to do it by rote. They don't have to conceptually motivate. It just comes out of them. How does that happen? By their wishing prayer. When I'm a Buddha, I would like to do this, just wave my hand, this and that happen. That's how you create the cause for that actually to happen. So that's what Buddhists say. Now, if you believe that, you shouldn't. You should look into it. And what are the mechanics of that? How does that happen logically? So good luck. But we have a lot of help here. So, Mark, you found something good?
No, just following along.
Oh.
Same thing you're doing.
Yeah, no, I have to write it out because sometimes the book, again, and I put a little note here. The prayer is also known as the quest of the Four Noble Truths. It gets a little technical now. Lacking guru devotion at the beginning of the path up to and including all the mistaken views shows the first two truths, the true cause of suffering directly and the resultant suffering indirectly. Okay, and that's something to grapple with mentally, but you know the Four Noble Truths. Right? Suffering, the cause of suffering, they're not in the same sequence. You know why that is, right? You know why we have suffering first, not the cause. The cause comes first. Why don't they do that first and then have suffering? Because it's taken from the point of view of the person suffering, and that wakes them up. You have a terrible headache. You can't stand it anymore. You go to the doctor. True suffering. Doctor, that's terrible. It's all right. Calm down. You have a sinus infection, they'll say. The cause of suffering. So right away you want to know, can I get rid of it? The goal. And the fourth truth, how do I get rid of it? You got to take this, you got to do that. The path. That's why it's in that order. It's in the order of life. Let's put it that way. What?
You started by saying something about a guru, and then you talked about the Four Noble Truths. What was the connection?
Something with the, what did I say? pure mind of Guru devotion, blah, 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 blah.
Devotion, yeah, that,
Yeah. That's the beginning of the path, the way they present it. Here, they more or less, in the United States, it's not,
There
it's
aren't
not,
that many gurus to go around.
and also, some of the things, if you read, for instance, Ashvaghosha's book, 50 Verses of Guru Devotion, when the Guru comes in, you stand up, you should offer the Guru consorts, you should do this, and nobody does that. You'll go to jail, and the Guru will go to jail. No, it's not the same context.
I think once Rinpoche was explaining the Guru in the form of teacher these days.
Yes, Guru
It's
means
more-
teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, in the Western world, it's more like, what do you
And Lama is Guru. And Guru, the idea is heavy. It means heavy with knowledge.
yeah.
Mhm. But even then,
People-
there aren't many.
No, there are a lot who purport to be.
Yeah.
So, but if you get an idea of a good one, you listen, you hear. His Holiness Dalai Lama is very good. Lingam Rinpoche is pretty good, to say the least. It goes back to the Buddha's presence. He was in the Buddha's presence.
I understand that, and I understand that there are like subject matter.
This is a big point, by
experts,
the way, you're talking about.
but the thing is, he's not going to be mine. Like like in the old days they had relationships, and now we get our knowledge in a very different method,
Yeah.
through a mechanism that's not
Right.
personal,
Right.
Through books or
Through books,
videos
and then they go right along with that. They write
Yeah.
books, they do videos.
Right.
At the certain level, high tantric practice, it's one-on-one. It has to be. Zen is very different, but it covers all the same ground. You're always with the teacher. In the meditation, the sessions, and a lot of them, every day you go what they call Dokusan, and he asks you a silly question or something which doesn't have sense, and you answer, out, boom. That constantly goes on. There's a closeness there. But the way it's presented in the Indian, the Nalanda traditions, put it that way, it's kind of, strange. But you'll notice some people do when the Guru comes in, they'll stand up and they'll run into his chair. And some monks have to do that. It's, of course, monks different. They're under vows, But that's it. It's not so much the outer gestures, it's the inner mindset that you're going to listen to this person, and a lot of things you don't understand, you're going to give him or her the benefit of the doubt. Once you've ascertained that this person's kind of knowledgeable, this person is smart. That's how we logically conclude that when we don't know everything. Buddhists would say something like, you did this minute thing, and 50 lifetimes from now you're going to get that. How can you check that out? You can't. But what is the most important thing that Buddha said? The doctrine of emptiness. And that can be checked out with an ordinary mind just using logic. If he didn't lie about that, he's not going to lie about who gave an apple to the king and became this later. So that's how you establish an authority, an authoritative person. Or Chung used to call him a truth teller. You have to establish this truth teller. And that's all good. Fourth request. The first request is for the pacification of true suffering and the true cause of suffering. Second request, that we may be able to practice pure Guru devotion and generate every realization up to the unmistaken view of selflessness. This is page 75. Is the request for the realization of the true path. The truth of cessation is shown indirectly. So, okay, if you want to get into the technical aspects of it, but just know the four elements, the Four Noble Truths, and why they're presented in that way. Think of yourself as very sick, and that's the only time you do something about it and go to the doctor. Your mind is upset, and you look around, finally you say, well, let me see what Buddhism says. A lot of people did that, including me. I said, let me read this book, because I read all the... Oh, something hooks you. And then you're told, yeah, there's something wrong. You got to do this, and you won't have this problem, and that's that. So the prayer for the three purposes also encompasses the two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. The request is to be able to generate all realizations, beginning from pure Guru devotion, represents the conventional truth. Ultimate truth is represented by the realization of the unmistaken view of selflessness. the two truths run concurrently. We see inherent existence. We don't really technically see conventional, because to know that this is conventional reality, we have to know the other side. But we think you're from your side, I'm here, there's a difference. Things are static. You ever notice when you get mad at something, you're overwhelmed, you forgot that things are impermanent, that things are moving, that this person is empty. Of course you forgot, because we're not great scholars and we're not great meditators yet. Or maybe you are, I don't know. But how can you solve a problem when you're not dealing in reality? It's a big problem. But if you knew the reality of things, people will come to you for advice. And if they're smart, they'll listen. A good lama, a good teacher, who was seeing emptiness directly, can give you a lot of good advice, and can also have an element of clairvoyance depending on the realization. To know this particular person is going to run into this, that, but there's something that will help them here, and they'll give you advice accordingly. Tony, you should go eat pizza and then have a good dessert. I was told that many times. They were right. I agree with that advice. Do you? No?
Problem is finding a good pizza.
If you become a Buddha, you could eat cow feed, right? Someone was so poor, you only get the Buddha, animal food and something, and it tasted sublime because of the Buddha's karma. So that's it. That's the end of restaurant hunting and everything else. And cooking this or cooking that. I'll eat a rock. What the hell? It's going to taste the same. I don't
How about
know.
some mulch?
Mulch is delicious. Don't fool. That's a sacred thing. It really is.
Roasted is very good.
With what?
Roasted.
Roasted? Not too much, though. Don't burn it. I told you many times. I smelled it burning from here. Anyway, we're joking around because that's what we do. Conventional and ultimate and all that. All right, what do we do? So let me go to page 75 itself so I can see better. I'm losing my eyesight slowly here. Up to this point, bottom of 75, we have discussed the foundations of practicing the Lamrim in terms of the proper way to rely on a spiritual teacher and the preparatory rites. These practices help us purify our obscurations and to create the basis of merit in our minds. Having completed the 7 limbs and offered a mandala, we can then begin our actual meditation practice. People think, why do I have to read? Why do I have to study? Why do I have to prostrate, etc.? You need that base. It does many things. It gives you confidence when you read something, understand it. It gives you discipline. It gives you greater appreciation. So with that great appreciation, you'll have more patience to try and understand things that are more hard to understand on face value. And you have to learn the fine art of reading something. I don't fully understand it, but I'll come back to it a week or so. See what happens then. If you sincerely read it, half a page the most, not too much. Try and put it in your own words, and then let alone. It's just getting, why do you jump from here to there? Come back and see what the subconscious does with that information. On and on and on. So that's why you read, you reread, you hear His Holiness, you listen again. That's all. And Yangtze Rinpoche says somewhere in the book, repeating the same thing all the time. It's the same thing, it's not different yet, but the mind is different, he said. The mind is always progressing. So your mind is different.
I have a
Question.
question. When you said
the audience.
something about offering a mandala, I've never offered like a world mandala, that there's a certain implement you can
The
use.
universe, yeah.
But how and what is...
Oh,
what's
they
the-
use a physical thing to represent.
Right. And then
The sun and the moon.
they
It's
put
their
stones
cosmology.
on there and everything.
Yeah, in their cosmology, with the Dalai Lama, there's a ridiculous Mount Sumeru in the middle. We know what the world is like, but that's an idea, it's a presentation to train your mind a certain way, and to give you the idea of totality, that your concern should be expansive, very
When
expansive.
does one do that? Every day?
They do it every day. They offer mandala before any teachings.
Okay.
They do it before any meditation session, a lot of people. Or you can just imagine thousands of good things all over the place for everybody. You don't have time. We come home, we're tired. We're not living in a nice pastoral place where the teacher's teaching every day and all this. Hopefully, maybe we could someday. But right now, we're banged about by people who don't even know the word Buddhism and have no idea. So we create a little space for ourselves, and as best as we could, we imagine things. Any store you walk into, imagine it expanding through all the universes, and everyone gets what they want, and then draw it back. Very important to draw it back. People do that. So that's easy. 2 seconds. It imprints the mind. That's what we're doing. Training the mind.
Why do you
I would like to send it to my house, but it doesn't work. I tried it. It doesn't work.
Why do you have to draw it back? For what reason?
That's a lot of reasons that I don't understand, but I was told always draw it back. I don't
You
understand
mean bring
it.
it back to where it really is.
From your heart, you emanate out when you're thinking, and then always, and Rinpoche would use 4th of July, firecracker goes like that, but then has to come back, he would say, because you like the expanding fire from the heart like this, and the idea of vastness. Tsongkhapa and the Lamrim said, give big things, big. I mean, the mind doesn't have a physical restriction, but we think it is because we're so locked into physical reaction. 10 inches here, the drape goes this way, back and that. So it's another way of thinking. It's scary. But that's what they say. And this simple thing, you go to like Trader Joe's, you often... How many pizza? Everybody who's hungry should have this nice pizza now that I'm bringing home. It smells so good, I feel like eating the box. Those thoughts help. You think, I'm feeling good, I want everyone to feel good. It's not a joke.
You're
It's
also offering to the Buddha.
to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and poor people, anyone, all beings. All beings will become Buddhas. I don't know when. I'm one of all beings. But that's it, yeah. Of course, offers of Buddhism and request teachings and things like that. And the idea is that unblocks you from being stingy. It stops you from being stingy, opens up. And you forget about your little tiny self that you think is the whole world. And you can't solve any problems from that posture. It's not, no. I think whatever I do is the whole, but it's not. You're not going to solve it. It's that. Is that the way a person who's going to be a Buddha in the future should act? Of course not. Shame on you. I could see the, wagging their finger and giving us hell. Imagine the Catholic Church took over Buddhism. God, that's not the way Bodhisattva that. I get it. All right, now that we dissed the Catholic Church. Not really. I was brought up in the old school, and, very old school. They burned it down. So, how to develop a meditation practice, and this is a big deal. Page 76, just a few more lines because we don't have much time. But so the word for meditation, gom, means to become familiar. And that's how we learn anything. We become familiar with it. We learn how to play different chords and whatever, or notes. By familiarity. At first it's, but all of a sudden, it happens. Even Mark knows that. In his Light My Fire sequence in that famous tribute band. That was genius, Mark. So it means becoming familiar. Familiarity is accomplished either through analytical meditation or by concentrating single-pointedly on a particular subject. Right? This is a bomb, right? Of the two methods, establishing familiarity through analysis is more effective. And we don't think of that colloquially. Yeah, you're supposed to sit in a room and watch it, sit like that. No, analysis. So analyze. That comes first. Then you apply with that understanding, single-minded. The two have to work together. But don't knock reading, logic, etc. I'm sure Geshe Damdol will tell us all that. If we think about it, we're not strangers to analytical meditation at all. If we are angry with someone, for example, we contemplate an entire list of reasons for our anger. One reason supports the next. Richie, anyone? He did this, he did that. Supports the next reasons, and that supports the next, and so forth. And before we know, we have completely justified our anger with this person. It's all internal. He did this. Same things when you like someone. Oh, they did this, they did that. And completely ignoring the bad faults of that person. You are so enraptured with the way they look, or they do this, or they do that. Oh. Avoid that trouble. Analyze. So, on occasions such as these, when we analyze the situation from every possible angle in order to validate our anger, we use the analytical process to examine our objects of desire from every angle in a similar way, building up support for the mind of attachment. She did this, she's so nice, and blah, blah. All of a sudden you're locked in, you're attached. All self-generation. That person may be not at all like you imagine them to be. You don't see the whole thing. Unless you're an omniscient Buddha, then you wouldn't have that problem. That's it. So, it works the same way in meditation on the Lamrim. We can engage in an analytical process in support of virtue, examining it from every angle to completely validate it, or we can engage in an analytical process to counteract non-virtue, examining it from all sides to defeat it. If we then engage in single-pointed meditation on the result of such analysis, our meditation will be extremely effective. And that's very important, because that's what you, what's this, what time do we have? Not much, no, 6 minutes. Well, as we were told, you think of things, you think of reasons to do this, to do that, compassion or something, you get a feeling. Hold that feeling as much as you can with a one-pointed mind. Oh, yes, that's true. It'll fade, of course. Go back to the reasons that built up that feeling. Hold the feeling again. That's all. Be patient. Let it happen. Just holding it is imprinting your mind. It's going deep. And it's not ineffective. It's going to affect you. Same as when you scream at somebody and wish them to drop dead. That's affecting you too. No. This is a very important section of the book, because now he's turning into really how you should react to this information and how you should personalize it. I'm very happy that people did all this hard work for us. It works the same way in we can engage in process of virtue, etc. Furthermore, skipping down to the next paragraph, the imprints that we create in our minds during conceptual analysis are far more powerful than the imprints we create with single-pointed concentration alone without analysis. Big practice point. That's how you progress. The stronger the imprints within our mind, the greater the influence our understanding will have on our behavior, on the way we think or act. That's making it real. We're changing our person. With these imprints, the stronger. We put them there, they'll come up and do the job. Don't try and fake your behavior. With this background, you don't have to. It'll come up nicely. If we are able to make strong imprints in our minds, we will experience their influence even in our sleep and at the time of death. Positive imprints activated at the time of death ensure that positive karma will ripen for the future lifetime. This is a bomb of advice. It's a very good pill to swallow here. And it won't upset your stomach. So we'll stop at that point because it's late. And we have to get to Rowdy Rooster. I thought it was a wrestler you were talking about.
Nope, just chicken.
Any names, Darren?
No name.
So all the people who have passed in different... Oh, that 114-year-old marathon runner who died in India by being hit by a car. He ran the marathon when he was 100.
114-year-old guy?
He was 114. He started running when his wife died, and he was 89. To overcome the sadness, he became a marathon runner. And he was from Punjab. But he ran in the London Marathon. He was also a British citizen. BBC carried a big thing. Forgot his name, but he got hit by a car in India. They didn't fight. It's a hit and run. So we're investigating this.
People who died in the flood here in New Jersey.
People died in the flood in New Jersey, and the 2 women in the car swept into a creek. Like 10 miles from here, Plainfield.
Yeah. It was very bad.
Yeah. Very bad flooding here. Now it's raining again. All right. I prostrate to the Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels, the text. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. Immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavat, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely. They enter insightfully. They enter straightforwardly. They enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path of liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. So where we go now from here? The 8 verses on training the mind. Something like that. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. And our prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, written by His Holiness. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Lozang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening, yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the Gloria Lozang Tempe, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So thank you for your pleasant and kind, patient listening. We hope it's useful. There's no practice of Waitara this weekend. It's an off Saturday, so the next Dharma talk will be the night of the 21st, Monday night, in New York City, 151 West 35th Street. No, 30th, excuse me. 151 West 30th Street, 100 yards from Penn Station. So you find Penn Station, you very easily find us. 3rd floor. And of course, next Wednesday night, we're back here at the parsonage in glorious South Orange. Thank you very much. Good luck and blessings to you all from back here, not from me. I can't do that. We're good, Darren?